So it's not looking good for Rise of Skywalker. Well, it kind of is and it kind of isn't, right? I mean, the movie still made money. It's definitely going to probably make $1 billion. And it made money considering its budget and marketing that they put behind it. The film's going to bring in money for Disney, and I'm sure they're somewhat happy with it. However, there are certain things that you can take out of this that don't paint a good future for the franchise in cinemas. Now, I have some ideas on how they're going to change this up. I really think that they're going to follow the Marvel formula and try to do so the rumor I hear is they're going to do standalone but loosely connected movies. What does that sound to you? What does that sound to you like? Sounds like Marvel. Standalone but loosely connected movies that lead up to a big one. That was what I was hearing. So it sounds like they're going to take the Marvel formula and they're going to apply it to Star Wars. And then, they'll take the main characters from each movie and put them into some kind of Avengers lineup to fight the bad guy. I could be wrong, but the way that I was reading some of the stuff on this, it kind of sounds like that's where they're going to go. They got to do something because this ain't working. So Star Wars Rise of Skywalker suffers massive 81% plunge. Now, that sounds pretty bad. 3 weeks out. I still wonder where this movie would have gone if it had released during a normal couple of weeks. You don't have the holidays. I mean, this movie benefited from Christmas and New Year's. It was almost like one long opening weekend. But now, we're getting into more normal weeks. We're only 3 weeks out from this movie, by the way. That's not very long. And when you compare it to Last Jedi's second weekend drop of 67.5%, that's pretty bad. Do they call this the $100 million loser club or something? I guess it's only the 11th movie to ever hit that, which is kind of sad. So they talk about if you want further proof, look no further than the total gross for each film after 3 weekends. Force Awakens had raked in $742 million. And by the third weekend, Last Jedi had raked in $517 million. Rise of Skywalker, though, sits at $450 million. I want to point out, this is just the domestic gross. This isn't worldwide, because worldwide, the movie's at like 900 something. That's why it's going to hit $1 billion. But one point that I think is really worth pointing out here is that the franchise seems to have lost a lot of steam when it comes to domestic gross. So here in North America, Rise of Skywalker isn't doing that great. It's doing great worldwide, but domestically, it's looking kind of bad for this film. That's not that good of news. Now, can you make money outside of America? Sure. And a lot of films do. In fact, a lot of films will get sequels based on how they do outside of America. Pacific Rim comes to my mind real quick. The first one didn't do that good here, but it did well enough in China that they justified making a sequel, and that's why you saw Pacific Rim 2. That's the whole reason that movie got made, as far as I remember. I'm not 100% correct on it, but I'm pretty sure that's why they made that movie. However, this isn't Pacific Rim. This is Star Wars. You need Star Wars to be healthy. You need everybody loving Star Wars, eating it up. It's probably one of the biggest merchandising brands there is, and you don't want your domestic audience falling off. You want them to be excited about it so you can make the most money possible. You need to appeal to everybody that you can, for sure, but you don't want to tick off your domestic audience either. So here's another article covering it. Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker has seen significantly high drops in attendance since opening weekend. And they're reporting in this one. Star Wars Rise of Skywalker has been in movie theaters for a few weeks now, and it has been mostly good news. The flick has already made $918 million globally and should shoot right over the $1 billion mark in the coming weeks. However, percentage-wise, the numbers are looking a bit less beautiful as Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker dropped a whopping 81% in its third weekend. This is after the drop was fairly steep between weekend 1 and weekend 2, as well as with Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker dropping 59.2% per Forbes, which is the article I just looked at. This also means the last flick in the trilogy dropped from $177 million opening weekend domestically to only $72 million domestically in its second weekend and $33.7 million in its third weekend, which I think is pretty damn embarrassing. Now, a lot of shills will point out, the movie's still going to make $1 billion. And it's just natural for it to have a big drop-off. But I think they're missing the point. Like, this is Star Wars. Look at Force Awakens, the excitement that was there. That could have carried over to all three of these films. I mean, you had the sequel trilogy. All of the characters were alive at the time. You could have done this so differently. This movie could have played out so differently, and they would have made globs of money. But what's the problem here? And as always, these studios want to put agenda first. They want to put politics first, and they just don't want to give fans what they want. They don't want to just make money. You know, it's about getting the message, changing the brand to what they want it and need it to be. You know, so because of that, what we wanted, which was all those characters doing well and properly passing the torch, we didn't get that. So now they're scrambling, giving us things like The Mandalorian, which I do appreciate and I do like. But the last thing I want at the end of the day is for Star Wars to copy Marvel. I think we got enough Marvel movies. I don't want to see Star Wars become the Marvel brand, but it's kind of looking like that's where they're going to take it. Whether that's going to save anything, I don't know. I don't really need to see Yoda on the Avengers Jedi team. But, you know, I think they're looking at that motto, and that's why I think they're bringing Kevin Feige in, too, as well, to see how he does on a Star Wars movie. And if that happens, you know, depending on where the franchise is, we'll see. You know, I'd like them to do Jon Favreau. That's who I'd like to see head everything up. But they need to do something. I'm wondering, you know, will Kathleen Kennedy's Titanic hit enough icebergs for them to actually fire her? We'll see. But as far as everything goes right now, there's enough headlines for them to spin to say that this movie is still a success, even though we all know it isn't. We all know that they're rigging the game up. That Rotten Tomatoes thing is really fishy. Something stinks, and they know it, and they're just delaying the future. Hopefully, Medusa Kennedy will be gone soon. Anyway, 81% drop. Not many butts in seats. What do you guys think about all that? Are you surprised? Are you shocked? I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. Also, throw a like up. Remember, comments and likes really help videos in the algorithm. Also, consider sharing the video. And make sure you're still subscribed. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out. Also, take a moment. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. There's something going on right now, and they've been unsubscribing people. So just take a second and double check on that, and subscribe if you're new.